Welcome everyone, how you doing? This is Jayster, giving you some more MLG Providence action. This is going to be Epik versus Goose. This is round 3, game 1. Epik obviously being blue team, Goose will be on the purple team. Unfortunately, I could not successfully download the round 2 games versus, I think it was Triple V. I'm not exactly sure though, so I'm set to skip right to this third round here. But obviously from that, oh, shoot, spoiler, well, obviously Epik won. So here they are now in the third round against Goose, and looks like they are going to have the following lineup. It's going to be Kog'Maw, Soraka, Kennen, Riven, and Jax, and it's going to be versus Asona, Twisted Fate, Ezreal, Udyr, and Yorick. Well, I can say right away, I think Nat Nguyen is in love with this long-haired broad, Soraka. I mean, all the games I've watched so far, he's played her, and you know, it's no surprise, honestly. The wonderful sustain, you know, keep the mana, keep the health up, while he just farms action bottom. Whoa, Dandin almost gets caught off guard there, and there's their whole team looking to ambush him. Kog'Maw, of course, is a champion also that has no escapes. So that was really dangerous. He actually is running Cleanse Ghost. Very interesting. No flash. So I guess against this Udyr and Twisted Fate, Sun, Sona ult, that kind of thing, he'd prefer to have Cleanse over Ghost or Flash. And you know what? I can honestly understand that. Not too surprising. We're gonna have Riven jungle. And this is what we saw in that first game of the first round. Westeros love playing this Riven. Very strong player, you know, always dominant. He's going to go around, get that cooldown reduction blue, and just really farm up this jungle quickly. Meanwhile, Udyr already has his blue, moving along. Another very fast, very strong jungler. And then this middle matchup, it's going to be Kennen versus Twisted Fate. Two pretty strong APs. Kennen can really stun lock some people if you play him right. Twisted Fate, really good at farming, of course. Throw in the wild card as well as you know, pick a card. This top lane we're gonna have Jax versus Yorick. You know, very strong melee characters. Jax can really dish out some damage, especially when he hits level 6. He's great. You know, he's got the dodge, the passive dodge eventually, which he can stun everyone around with. So you know, that's gonna be an interesting lane to watch. And then bottom we got the Kog'Maw versus Soraka, and that's gonna be, you know, against this Ezreal Sona. Sona, you know, another great sustain, great burst damage thing, and then with Ezreal on top of that, for poke damage, you know, they got a lot of it, needless to say. But they are against that Soraka, who has the sustain, so as long as they don't take too much poke damage, I guess, it will be, you know, fairly even, I guess, you would think. Riven already ports back to base. Buys boot, so he just started actually with the Dorn's Blade, and he doesn't go Wriggles, it appears. Kind of interesting. Most junglers that aren't tanks, that are like melee DPS, do go for that Wriggles, so they can go for like Dragon or Baron and really, you know, kill them a lot quicker. So it's interesting to see them when, you know, he's just going a Dorn's Blade instead. I guess he'd prefer that health and a little bit of lifesteal, so, you know, whatever floats his boat, right? Top, Udyr comes in for the gank, does the leap strike onto Udyr, but he's just getting burnt down here. Good stun at the end, good proc, and looks like Jax is going to live through that one. It's a pretty good setup. He doesn't have any vision up here, which, you know, he's going to need to get up pretty quickly if he's going to want to be able to do anything, because Udyr could still be just sitting there. Who knows? He's got flash too. Jax did not have to use his flash, fortunately. Oh, speaking of summoners, so they both have flash teleport in the top lane, ready to go for a dragon or whoever the team fight might be. Something interesting to note though is Jax can stun if he gets that dodge proc, whereas Yorick cannot stun. So can't interrupt his, but he can interrupt. Who knows? We'll see if that actually comes into play. He might not, but just something interesting to point out. Creep score wise, we got 26 versus 27. Okay, 27 in all. Bottom, so it's dead even. Twisted Fate's got 26 to a 32 Kennen, so a little advantage there for Epik. And then top we got 26 versus 22, so it's pretty much even in all the lanes right now. It's probably going to come down to where this first blood happens, you know, what vision they kind of get. Jax is still hanging out here. If you want the armor and health pot, actually it's a gang top before I get into that. Ken's forced to use his flash because it was a great stun combination, gold card into bear stance. So now Kennan's flash is down, they have to be careful. Udyr doing a really good job being aggressive ganking, keeping them kind of on their heels. Although now Jax is allowed to push top freely because he knows exactly where Udyr is. So yeah, as I was saying, interesting choice there, going that armor health pots instead of boots. And you know, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, Yorick, very strong AD champion. And you also get to get the 5 health pots instead of 3, if you desire. So, you know, it's really strong in the beginning, and I understand getting that choice. Looks like Riven's down here looking to sneak into this jungle, or brush rather. He does get in. Now they're going to begin a little bit of harassment, or try to at least. With Sun, that's not easy to do much damage, but Danden's trying to just bait them into it. He really wants them to go on him. Sure enough, here comes a nice team fight. Udyr comes from behind. There's the cleanse. Uses a little early. Twisted Fate ports down. That's going to be a dead Cosmo. Soraka flashes out. Riven and Jax. Jax teleported down. Yorick stayed top, though. Pretty interesting decision I'll come back to later. Riven's still following up on Twisted Fate and Udyr. And it looks like they're going to try to do as much damage as they can to this Udyr. Riven's going to get out there with just 100 health left. And so interesting team fight. Yorick not porting. Not going to lie, I'm not in favor of that decision. I mean, Jax came in and that really did turn the tides for that team fight. And whereas Yorick was just continuing to farm, and definitely didn't pay off for him. You know, maybe if he took this tower up here, or really hurt it, maybe you could say it'd be more worth it. But he didn't teleport, and then he just blue pilled back to base. So really interesting decision making there. We'll see how that goes in the long run. So meanwhile, 2-1. Kog'Maw just got an assist, no kills. 2 kills for Riven, so he's in a great place. You can see he's got 2 Doran's blades, and now he's going for that brutalizer he gets generally as a first item for that cooldown reduction armor pen. You know, really good idea. Meanwhile, Udyr has the Ninja Tabi, and that's actually all he has right now. Ezreal just went straight for that Wriggles. Didn't even get boots yet, although he doesn't really need boots like other heroes because, you know, he can just jump around with his E and, you know, doesn't have to worry about mobility as much. Kog'Maw looks like he's also going for Wriggles. Generally, that's been, like I said in another game, that's kind of been like the current meta. It's shifted into his ADs getting these Wriggles early on, so they can really help out for like a quick dragon, or even push the lane out if they need to, whatever it needs. That 500 damage proc on creeps is pretty substantial early on. So, so going now to the middle lane here, Kennan's got, you know, his Vamp Scepter and Hextech Revolver. I'm sorry, Hextech Revolver. So you get that lifesteal every time he throws one of his Shurikens out and lands it, of course. Twisted Fate, on the other hand, has a Sheen first item. So we'll see what he decides to go with that. Not a bad choice, obviously. He does use spells pretty regularly, between pick a card and then throwing the 3 cards in a row, obviously. A lot of spells getting used. You have to imagine next he goes for some big AP bulk, maybe even a Death Cap, who knows, and then eventually into a Riley's. He'll turn that Sheen into, who knows, something, you know, get that AP damage burst. So we'll see what they end up doing. Jax having a fun time up top here. He actually went Ninja Tabi. Of course, very, very common on Jax to boost his dodge chance for those stun procs. So we're looking around here. Riven still has a blue. I think his red's up. He might choose to do that next and then maybe look for a gank bottom. Who knows? Finally, on the other hand, is getting pushed back, and this is actually be wonderful Riven if he can get there quickly. Because this is a great position. I mean, I'm sure Sona has that ward, but, you know, Riven's is just high mobility. Like, he could get around there really quickly. Actually, here comes Udyr. He chooses to go Heart of Gold as his next item. So a little more tankiness. He's got double buff, too, and actually now they both have double buff, so that's not going to really matter. Kennan's had vision on this whole time, so he's safe. He's over there, and he knows what's up. Meanwhile, top lane, it's a battle 1 versus 1. Jack's feeling pretty confident, I guess. And I thought Riven was going to buy, but I guess he decided to come back at the last second and kill the Wraiths. And now there's a little fight here in the Wraiths. And it's just going to be a standstill. Nothing really coming of it. So CS-wise, Cogmal's up 71, Ezreal 81. So Ezreal's taken over the lead for his team. Kennan's at 81 versus a 69 Twisted Fate. So he's got a little up there. 29 Udyr versus a 48 Riven, and you have to remember the 2 kills. So Riven's definitely ahead of Udyr by a good amount. And then 67 Yorick versus a 79 Jax. Even with not teleporting, Jax is still much ahead, and I guess Jax is just keeping him pushed out. You know, Yorick is too afraid to go in there, I guess. And that's pretty unfortunate for him. Because Jax snowballs pretty well, actually, into the middle, at least in the middle game. So we'll see, I guess, how that turns out. Maybe some ganks up top, but this is the vision I'm talking about with Epik, you know. They'll see where that Udyr would come out of the jungle and set up a gank, you know, at all these entrance points. It's really fascinating to see this. They really have, you know, great perception of where things are coming from. The only thing they can obviously predict is a Twisted Fate ult, but you know, I'm sure they'd call that out on the jiffy. Riven actually getting caught trying to counter jungle. Twisted Fate looking to throw a gold card, but decided last minute, nah, I'd rather not. So I guess he's back to farming. Riven flashes as well as Kennen. Everyone flashing, and it looks like Kennen's going for the dive. Will it pay off? He does kill Twisted Fate, but then he dies himself. Definitely questionable. Riven versus Udyr one-on-one. Soraka goes out to heal. And it looks like that's all the Ezreal snipe. What a great cast. Yeah, the present mind say, oh, this really hurt Riven's coming up here. You know, I should get up. I should try to hit snipe him with that ultimate. That's why I love playing Ezreal. You know, you get to be participant across the whole map, regardless of where you are. So, anyways, Jack's looking to push this top lane. Yorick comes back. Got Spirit Visage now, so kind of more annoying to deal with. He's got that nice health regen buff, the healing buff. Here's the cleanse and Ghost from Yorick. Not sure if that was necessary. It is kind of unfortunate now. He does have to fight an Ezreal that has the double buff because he picked off Riven that double buff. So, you know, a ton of mana Ezreal with a slow debuff is really hard to deal with. So I don't blame him for being here. Jax continues to farm. He actually went back and got the Hextech Revolver himself. He's going to look to build that Gunblade eventually. So, smart pickings. So, it looks like the Will of the Ancients finished up there on Kennen. So, he now has that aura that provides a little bit more spell power as well as, or ability power, sorry, as well as spell vamp for his team that's around him. So, you know, anyone that casts spells around him will gain some life back. Obviously, Jax, he's already going to be gaining a good amount from that his own Hextech Revolver. And then you throw that Will of the Ancients on top. It's pretty strong. On top, of course, Soraka heals. That's a lot of sustain from their comp. Riven looking to set up something down here. Hiding in that brush again. I'm waiting for that Udyr to just come charging through in bear stance like last fight went. We'll see what happens. They did lose that ward over here, so they really are unsure of what's going on. For all they know, Dragon could be fought. I mean, as I say that, there's a clairvoyance to look at it. And there is nothing there. Ezreal builds a Phage next, so it looks like he's going for a Trinity Force would be my guess. I guess it can be a common item. I kind of went out of style. He went more for AD in more recent builds, but you know, it's Trinity Force is just a very expensive item. I think it's almost 4,000 gold. It does kind of give you a lot of stats, but it's so spread out, and you know, some people call it not worth it, but I guess he decides it is for him, so he's going to include it in his build. Jax is farming away against Yorick here. That's kind of just farm fest. Udyr looking to come top with that red buff, and now he actually has a recurve bow. So probably going to go for that Wit's End. Here comes Twisted Fate poured in, actually. Does get the gold card, followed by a Bear Stun. Jax gets a nice stun up there, and they're going to keep chasing for a while. Udyr taking a lot of damage, but it's not going to result in anything. And then flashes in with his ult. They flash out as well. Get a stun on Yorick. Here comes Riven to try to see if he can clean up, but not going to be enough damage from anyone. Meanwhile, bottom, it looks like Kog'Maw taking a lot of damage and pressure from this Ezreal and Sona. But with the Soraka there, I mean, it's really to no avail. Riven trying to get a pick off at the last second, but there's no one there to kill. Poor Riven. So basically it's just a big free farm fest. You know, there's so much sustain, so much tankiness. It's really hard for any of these ganks to come to fruition. So both teams kind of struggling on the gank end. But, you know, either way, it's 3-3. Dragon's still alive. That probably is going to be determined on the next team fight, who's going to get that dragon. 125 to 133, so that's pretty much dead even farm. 127 Kennen versus that 105 to his fate, so low advantage, and then 131 versus 106, so another slight advantage top. But all in all, it's a pretty close game, to say the least. So not much damage going there. Jax maybe looking to start pushing this tower a little more. Because Yorick did B, he's probably going to buy something. Here comes the middle. Gold card, followed by a bear stun on Kennen, but it's not going to result in anything. Kennen's going to keep up his sustain with his Hex Tech, or his Well of the Ancient, sorry. Yorick ended up buying Merc Treads now, so I guess he was sick of Jax keeping him stun locked. Meanwhile, Jax decided to buy a pickaxe, so now he's getting very close to finishing that Gunblade. Probably about 1,200 gold off or so. Just a fate. Now he has a blasting wand. I knew that. And he might be going either. He could go either way. He could go for that death cap, or he could go and get, you know, the procs off the auto attacks for based on his AP. But he doesn't have a lot of AP, so probably wouldn't build that quite yet. He'd be probably smarter to go straight for that death cap. You know, just that pure magic damage for the team fights. That'd be really important. Pink Ward actually goes down by Dragon, and there's the Clairvoyance to see what's going on. So now, you know, no vision on Dragon. That Clairvoyance going to be down, and they're going to just be flying blind. Actually, good Wriggles use there. So they are aware of what's going on. As well as another ward, actually. So, and Udyr comes in, clears yet another one, but now here comes the closing of the gap. Riven and Kennen both looking to maybe pursue this fight. I think a fight's definitely going to be breaking out here shortly, but who knows when. And they find the last ward. Actually, teleport keeps invincible. Ezreal decides to blink in, has to flash out because of it, and now they're going to start Dragon. And Yorick, let's see if he's going to finally teleport. I'm not sure that he has a ward to teleport to, which is really unfortunate. That's just a free Dragon for Epics. This is twice now that, you know, it could have been on cooldown too, because he did just use it to come back to the lane. So, probably on cooldown. He's probably going to look to push that, but it's going to be no avail. Meanwhile, Riven pops his ult, flashes in, gets the stun on Ezreal. Ezreal gets out, but gets stunned by his Sona. Great Sona ult, and it's just not going to be enough to kill Ezreal. So, nice defensive ult by Sona there to keep him alive. Yorick, in the meantime, putting some pressure on that top lane. No towers have fallen yet. Pretty impressive. Udyr comes to support bottom, and it's just going to be for nothing. So, 19 minutes in, no towers, 3-3. Much different game pace than you know, the last round, the first round I was casting versus Anguish. I mean, these teams definitely are countering each other in pretty good ways. Epic obviously does have an advantage in both farm and now that dragon kill, but easily one team fight could shift, you know, the balance of this game. So it could be anyone's. I'm gonna go look over items now again. Kog'Maw looks like he's building that Wit's End actually. Looks like his next item. And against a Twisted Fate, that Ezreal, Sona damage, even Yorick, I mean, there is a good amount of magic damage to resist. And of course attack speed on Kog'Maw. Can't go wrong there. Looks like Udyr's trying to do a little gank on Kennen. It's just a little harassment. Obviously, won't be able to follow anything up on that. So now their vision, it's decent, but it's not nearly as good as it was, you know, earlier in the game. They have a little bit to see if Udyr's coming in. Top lane's completely flying blind, but Jax is pretty strong at this point. Does finish his Gunblade, actually. So now he can use that to slow down someone, do an extra burst damage. He's got Lifesteal and Spell Vamp, so it's pretty strong. Kog'Maw finishes his Wit's End. Coming back to the lane now. Gonna feel pretty confident. A couple gold items on Soraka and Sona. Pretty identical. So, we see all 5 Epic, obviously, and we see 0 for Goose. So, I guess, you know, who knows what happens top lane. They're checking out. Red Rune is gone. Twisted Fate, yeah, gets that Needle Sea Large Rod. So he is going to go for that Death Cap next, which is, like I was saying, pretty smart idea. So the team fights, he can just spam his spells, do a lot of burst damage. Udyr running very visibly through the middle, so not even trying to hide. Jax probably needs to be wary of an Udyr gank pending as he runs up. Total vision. Here comes the bear stance. Gonna try to start something. It's not gonna lead to much if he even hits it, which he doesn't. You know, Jax is very tanky and has a high dodge chance. That's really helpful against like an Udyr, who's just built for attack speed. I believe this one, yeah, has a Wit's End. So neither jungler actually has Wriggle's Lantern. So neither are really going for that quick monster damage. Instead, going for that tanky kind of build, or high damage, I guess you could say, with Rivens. He's got the Brutalizer and probably building that into a Bloodthirster, is my guess, the Vamp Scepter, since that's been his common build. Kennen also going for his Death Cap. They're pretty much on pace with one another for that. Jack's trying to go here on Yorick, doing a good amount of damage, but getting forced to go back a little bit. So nothing really resulting in that. Riven looking to set something up here on Twisted Fate, but he's just so pushed. They really need to take some towers so they can apply more pressure in these lanes, because right now it's dead even, you know, and they need to push an advantage somewhere. Maybe even if it requires pushing bottom or something. Jack's going all out here, forcing Yorick to ult himself to provide some extra damage and survivability. But it's not really going to lead to much. Jax is just gaining life on that image, and now it's going to fight him freely. He doesn't have to worry about that ultimate. And he has back to having decent vision, which is going to, in turn, of course, help him keep that up. So, bottom lane. Dead even. I guess I did a little more hurt, but really nothing coming out. He's actually getting pretty close to finishing that Trinity Force. The Zeal is about halfway built, so that's pretty good. Soraka used her ult. It's a nice 2v2. Ezreal's ult this time missing, so not going to help out as much as it did before. They get the kill on Udyr. It was very hard to get a kill on, especially with that, you know, magic resist against this Kennen here. So great setup there. Sorry I missed the first action in 10 minutes. It happens though. Don't fall. Jax goes back to base. Doesn't buy anything. Maybe a ward. Okay. Guess he just wants to see the world. Looks like blue's up for purple team here. They're gonna definitely just go and steal this. Finally gets a tower kill there. And it makes sense, obviously. They killed Udyr, and now they took the advantage. And now Kog'Maw has a blue rune, which is going to be very nice, because he can go through his mana rather quickly, especially if he drops his artillery barrages quite frequently. Obviously, the more often you use them in succession, the more mana they cost. So, definitely great idea there. Armor and now a Mana Mune. Completes Mana Mune, Yorick did. And now's the armor. So I'd have to imagine that he's worried about this Jax. See, Jax does magic and physical damage. That's why he's such a great carry. or whatever you want to consider him. I mean, he does that strong AD, but then he's also got the magic component that, you know, you have to build multiple resistances to really be effective tank against him. And then Kog'Maw is actually kind of the same way in that hybrid sense. You know, he does his normal really fast attack damage, but his passive, or not his passive rather, his I believe it's his W. He does 6% of the target's max health and magic damage. So 6% every time he attacks. Obviously, you've seen how fast he attacks already. So very good magic and physical damage coming from both of them. So they kind of have to build both magic resist and armor if they want to try to have a chance to survive against these guys. So now there's one tower down. Dragon has in fact respawned. They probably will want to push another tower or something before they go for that dragon. Actually, it's a ping goes out on dragon. They're going to consider doing it now. Twisted Fate's pretty far back, but he could ult in any second. Actually, great oracles there. 2 wards go down, so they have nothing for York to port to at this point. But they're not going to follow that dragon up because now I guess they're expecting Goose to be a little suspicious. But in the meantime, Jax is able to take out top tower, and now it's 2-0 tower advantage in addition to that dragon. And actually, they are going for that second dragon, easily going to get it. So 2 towers and 2 dragons, advantage for Epik. Say it's an epic advantage. That's pretty lame. And now I guess maybe they'll just go for this bomb at this point. Blue's still on Cog. It's going to wear out soon. Twisted Fate actually ults. Here comes the gank on Jax. Let's see if they can do anything with it. This is 3 of them versus poor Jax. He's trying his best. Uses the flash to try to get away. But he's pretty stun locked here. And they're just going to keep diving all the way past the tower. He is still alive somehow. In fact, he might survive this. There's a good chance. Oh, wow. Survives forever, and in the meantime, that's going to allow Epik to take this bomb tower. So not a good trade at all, to be honest. 1 kill for a tower. Not a good idea unless they push that top out. And they get the second middle tower. So 2 towers for a Jax. Yeah, I think they would want to take that back now if they could. York, who's a little hurt now. Riven King chasing him down. Has that ultimate popped. And decides not to follow up, I guess. Maybe a little too tanky for him. Kennen actually getting caught out of position here. Pops the ulti, she's definitely going down. And Kog'Maw cleanses that, but he's dead as well. Way out of position here. So, a couple poor choices there in their favor, actually. Meanwhile, Riven and York. Riven chases him down and gets the kill and survives it. So, all in all, that was 2 for 1, I guess. But they did get those 2 towers, like I said earlier. So, with the 2 dragons and the extra towers, they're still in an advantage. Yeah, we're definitely going to see this tower drop, of course, though, with the AD Ezreal here, who did finish his Trinity Force. So, pumping out some pretty serious damage at this point. Jax actually built a Ginsu's Rageblade. Interesting choice there. Obviously, a pretty decent item on him. It's a ramping up attack speed, ability power item. So every time you attack, you gain attack speed, and I believe it's 5 or 6 ability power. And that can stack 8 times. So for Jax, whose ultimate is every, I believe, 3 attacks, he does extra bonus magic damage. And attacks faster. It's, works really well with that, very fluidly. So, definitely a very good pickup there. Riven did finish Bloodthirster. Kog'Maw actually built Madred's Bloodraiser in addition to Wriggles. So, a lot of damage to like a Baron. You can see how much health he's already at. He was at half before they even started attacking them. So he is just amazing at taking out tanks. This Bloodraiser does 4% max health. If he stacks that with the W, that does 6. That's 10% of the target's max health every time he attacks. I mean, of course, mitigated by magic resist. But even still, you know, that's a lot. Jack's going bottom. He has his teleport up, I have to assume. So he's just going to push out bottom while, you know, they keep these guys at bay, is what my guess would be. Riven goes in, tries to set up something. Here comes a teleport from Jack. Kennen with a beautiful ultimate. Catches 3 of them with it. Tons of burst damage. Riven pops her ultimate. Gets 2 of them, and then Kennen finishes off that one. There goes Ezreal. And that was just a huge sweep right there. Actually, that was the image Ezreal. I apologize. Pick me out, York's image there. So Ezreal and someone was live, so tries to steal it with the ultimate. That would have been pretty impressive to outsteal from a smite, needless to say. But amazing, and that's just going to show how really heavy damage and CC kind of can really be. I mean, with that flash ulti combo, you can stun 3 people and just do tons of damage. And, you know, it really makes a huge impact, as you saw. Followed up by a Riven coming in there with her stun and her ultimate doing a ton of damage. I mean, they just didn't have a chance in that team fight. So now they use that Baron. They push out that middle inhib. It's gone. And I guess now they're falling back, taking blue buff. You know, they're going to take it easy, not, you know, overextend. Because, I mean, they do have a big advantage now, but they don't want to be too full themselves. I mean, Kennen's ult's obviously down. And the other team really didn't get to use all of their abilities, so they probably still have all theirs up, or most of them. So, you know, they're going to play it safe here, pick up their farm, and, you know, force the other team to just really turtle and keep that mid pushed back. Let's see some items pickups now. Beautiful. Zhonya's Hourglass on Kennen. Very common build on him, because he is such a squishy, high damage champion. You know, only 1800 health. He actually has a lot of armor from that Zhonya's now, but you know, he can flash in like he did last time, ulti, and if you start getting targeted, just pop that Zhonya's, and can't be targeted anymore. But while you're using that Zhonya's, and you're in that stasis, or whatever that state is called, your spells that are channeling are still going on. It's the same thing like with Morgana. If she uses her ultimate and then pops it, you know, those things are still going to go on. So it's, you know, great item on him. Good pickup. 482 AP, very strong. Looks like Jax is actually going for Atma's Impaler. He's got the armor and crit chance, and actually that's going to be a concede vote. So it looks like they just want to move on to a second game. It was really close, probably up to the 22-23 mark. Even with the Dragon kill, it's still a very close game. But then it's just going to show how just one team fight can really change the whole, you know, state of the game. So great job by Epik there. It takes game 1. And we'll see, I guess, how they decide to change strategies going into this game too. Thanks for sticking around. Hope you guys watch some more of our casts going on here at Broadcast. You know, follow us on our own site as well as we're on Twitter. Check all that out on the channel info. You can see it. Thanks, and we'll catch up with you.